Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and it is time for my MTB Slam for the month of October. Today I'm going to do it in a kayak. I got my big rig all set up and ready to go. Hopefully my microphone will last at least a little bit of time. I forgot to bring batteries for it, but too far to go back to town and get it. But let's go ahead and talk about the MTB. Mystery Tackle Box is a subscription-based product. For $15 a month, you get a box of tackle, and for an upgrade of $9.99, you get the MTB Pro box. So I'm gonna open up the box, I'm gonna show you what's in it, and I'm gonna try to go catch a fish on each thing that's in the box. So I opened this up last night just to make sure I had the right rods in the kayak. I really didn't want to pack too much. So to start with, you got this little card somewhere in here that shows you what everything's worth, and it's always more than what you pay for. It's always worth a whole lot more than what you pay for. So the very first thing is the Storm Arishi Silent Square Bill. Let me find it. Here it is right here. Big. I've always wanted to fish these. I see them in the stores all the time. Big bodied. Looks like it'll have a pretty wide wobble. It says it dives to I think it said 3 to 5 feet, I think. What did it say? Dives to 5 feet. And it's worth $8.99. The other one is a Supersonic Joint, is a Strike Pro. I guess it's this jointed, jointed little crankbait. It says it dives 3 feet and it's floating. So that'll be really good. The fish should be shallow right now. We're in the latter part of October. I know this is late getting this video done. Been on the road all week or all month, so that one should work really good. The Nasty Thumper from Finch Nasty Bait Company, it's worth $5.29. Where is that one at? This is that little bladed swim jig. It's 3/8 ounce, so I should be able to fish it really shallow. Then the Baby Juke by Charlie's Worms. I have some of these at home. These are really good little soft jerk baits. Watermelon red, we'll see how that color works. I like white. I almost fish white exclusively. Vertical Flipping Jig from Venom Lures is $3.98. That one's all bottled up. I'll have to look at it when I get it out of the bag, but good color anyway. Nice. This watercolor's a little stained, but not too bad. KG hook, decoy hooks, whatever they are. It's EWG. Looks like some really good hooks. You got Japanese writing on them, whether they're made in Japan or not, I don't know. And then some bass attractant from Bass Dynasty. You guys see these guys all over Instagram and social media. So we'll try that on some of the baits anyway, maybe on the jig. Anyway, I'm gonna get these things rigged up. I've only brought 3 rods, so we're gonna do a little bit at a time. I've got a long ways to travel. I gotta head up about another 3/4 of a mile to the other end of the lake and work my way down. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully my microphone works that long. If not, you guys will be hearing me from the GoPro mic with a little bit of wind sound. So it is what it is. Let's go tear them up. All right, so I've got everything rigged up that I can so far. What I've got in the boat is, first of all, I've got my, what do they call it? The Vertical Flipping Jig from Venom Lures. It's basically a rocker jig head, and I put a Biospawn Vial Craw on there as a trailer, pretty good sized little trailer. Kind of like I'm smaller than that this time of year. What I may end up doing is cutting the head off of that Vial Craw and sliding it back on. The one thing I don't like about this jig is that it doesn't have a trailer keeper on it, so that trailer may end up sliding down quite a bit during the day. It would have been nice to have that on there. But all in all, a good jig. It's my favorite jig head. So we'll see what happens. Got it rigged on a medium heavy fast action, 7'3" medium heavy fast action with an 8:1 gear ratio. Concept A. Next thing I got in the rod holder is this is the Arishi shad. The Arishi Silent Square Bill, so it doesn't have a rattle in it. Gonna throw that up shallow. 15-pound fluorocarbon Seaguar fluorocarbon 7'3" medium action rod with a 6:6 gear ratio reel. And then behind me I've got the little bladed jig, the Nasty Thumper from Finch's. I've got it on, actually I've got it on a medium heavy rod because I accidentally grabbed the wrong rod. I like it on a medium, but a medium heavy 7-foot ought to be pretty good. It'll be a little bit more of the rod than what this bait needs, but 20-pound fluorocarbon, 8:1 gear ratio reel. Just grabbed the wrong one, just gonna have to use it. All right, so it is fall, late October. Water temperature's cooling down here in Georgia. The bass should be shallow. Today I'm fishing without a fish finder because a lot of people think I can't do that. But when you're fishing without a fish finder, it's all about what you observe, what you can see and what you don't see. As I was putting the boat in just a few minutes ago, there was a bass that was chasing shad up into the shallows. So that tells me it's a typical fall day. Bass are shallow, high noon right now, or actually it's afternoon. And they're still up pushing shallow. So that's what I'm gonna concentrate on. I've started at the west end of the lake, mainly because the wind is blowing out of the west and it's gonna push me east. So that way I can use the wind to my advantage and drift the shallows without making too much noise and without too much work. This big rig's a great kayak. But you know, you got to have a little give and take. It catches a little bit more wind than say the ATAC does. The ATAC rides lower in the water, but it drafts less than the ATAC, so it's a little bit faster, a lot more stable, real wide. But I'm not reviewing the kayak, so I'm not going to say much about it. But that's kind of, I've got to play that to my advantage. So that's why I go and I play the wind to my advantage and let the wind push me through this shallow water. My depth finder is my paddle. Want to see how deep I am? I drop my paddle down, see if I can feel the bottom. Right now I can't, because I know I'm in the creek channel. But anyway, we're gonna mess around, see if we can't catch something. I'm gonna start off with a search bait that may end up being what I end with. But I'm gonna try to catch one on the square bill and one on the little bladed jig. And then when I get down to a couple of the rock piles, I know where they are a little bit deeper. I'll definitely bring those into play. But there's a bait fish just ticked right up here in the really, really shallow water. So I'm gonna fish. Now, one thing I want to talk about real quick is what it says on the back of this card right here. One of the things they wanted me to mention in the video this time is go into Mystery Tackle Box and complete your profile. It's free. You can sign up for the old, or you can get a profile on Mystery Tackle Box for free. You have to pay for the boxes, but the profile itself is free. But what it does is you can go in there and you can add your preferences, what things you like to fish with, what you like to fish for. And it's basically, they use that information to tailor their boxes and to give you a lot more of what you would use. And believe me, I know some of the boxes don't have some things in it that you really don't like to use. I've seen it I've seen it several times. And so this allows them to tailor the box more towards what you like and what you don't like. You still may get a few things that you don't like, but this makes their job a whole lot easier in guessing the things that you like and throwing them in the box and sending them to you. So go in there and update your profile on Mystery Tackle Box and watch what happens. It'll be pretty cool. All right, so I fished the main lake quite a bit and didn't even get a bite. I saw bait fish activity, but didn't get a bite and didn't see a whole lot of feeding activity. So I'm pulling off into these little pockets that have really, really shallow flats. Starting to see a little bit more bait rolling back here. This lake is an impoundment. It's a public fishing area, and it's an impoundment for a electrical producing something or another. I don't, just basically the electrical company. But there doesn't seem to be that much water coming into it from creeks or streams, at least not right here. So normally I would go and I would try to find the major creek going into the lake, and I'd go and head right to the back of that where the water's coming in, and that's where I'd fish. Not much of that going on right now. The lake's low, there's not a whole lot of water anyway. So I'm just gonna try these pockets. I don't know a whole lot about the inflow of this lake. So if I come across something like a creek that's coming in, I'm really, really gonna focus in on that. All right, a little bladed jig, throw it up in here, let it sink to the bottom. All right, so what I'm doing with this bladed jig, I've got it on a medium heavy power, 7-foot medium heavy rod. A 1-to-1 gear ratio reel, 20-pound fluorocarbon. A little bit too beefy than what I'd like it to be, but it should work. This lure, any bladed jig, can be fished several different ways. What I'm trying to do is trying to figure out what kind of a mood the bass are in. I'm not seeing a whole lot of feeding activity. A lot of bait fish back up in this pocket, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of chasing or anything else going on. So I don't expect them to be in that great of a feeding mood. So I'm gonna try to get a reaction bite out of them. The ways to do that is to reel, let it sink to the bottom and reel it and bump it off of everything that you can bump it off of. And you get that reaction bite when it bumps off of something. And the bass is, close enough to hit. The next one is, I'm gonna do a stroke or a yo-yo type deal where I cast it out. I let it sink to the bottom. Now I'm really shallow right now, so it doesn't take long for it to get to the bottom. And then I'm gonna just pop it just like that, let it sink back to the bottom. And I'm watching my line as it sinks, because that's when I'll get hit. And it causes that bass that's kind of got a little bit of interest in it, but not really wanting to bite, to chase it. And then as it falls, it's like, oh crap, boom, and he grabs it. And you really have to pay close attention to your line when you do that. The other way is just really, really fast. If they're super shallow and you can get away with it, you can reel it super fast, and it's just like it's there and it's gone, and they've got to catch it and get it before it gets away, and they don't, they just want to put it in their mouth just to see what it is. The advantage or the disadvantage that bass have or they don't have hands, so they can't grab something just to check it out. They've got to grab it with their mouth. And so a reaction bite or a curiosity bite or whatever is kind of what I'm looking for. I just hope they get in a feeding mood before the day's out so I can catch something. There's one. Way out here. Got it on the old bladed jig. Look at that little bitty bass. But that's the first fish of the day. Not bad. Not bad at all. Of course, the sun is right behind me, so y'all get a great picture. Not bad. Hit it pretty hard too, so that's a good thing. It took me a while to find them. Let's see if I can make that turn into a bigger one though. Basically what I was doing was up really, really shallow, and I kept seeing little fish tick out here a little bit deeper. And actually we're probably in about, 4.5 feet of water, maybe 5 feet of water. Oh, a little deeper than that. Yeah, not even touching the bottom. So we're deeper than 7 feet. So that's nice. I'm just gonna try to stay out here in this depth and just cast this thing around, see if I can't catch another one. Well, I only got about, just minutes left on my dang microphone batteries. And if I keep going without the microphone and it's as windy as it is, it's just gonna be wind noise on that GoPro. So I'm gonna call it a day and come back tomorrow a little bit more prepared. Yeah, crap happens, especially when you're trying to film this stuff. But I'm gonna come back a little bit more prepared and ready to go the full day and see what we can do. I've only been out here about an hour, and my battery's, like I said, just seconds from going away. So anyway, try again tomorrow. All right, well, it's now tomorrow. Actually, it's 2 days later. I got home and from my last fishing trip, and my wife reminded me that she had scheduled an appointment for me to go to the dentist and Jordan to go to the dentist. So yesterday, most of the day was spent at the dentist. No fun. So I didn't get done with that until about 2 o'clock, and that pretty much messed up the whole day yesterday. So I didn't even bother coming out and wasting the time putting everything together and getting out here. So anyway, I am actually in a different kayak today. This is the maiden voyage of my Cuda HD, that I just picked up last week. We're gonna see if we can slam it today during the MTB Slam. Got overcast skies, a little bit of wind, water temperatures in the low 70s, which is where I like it. We've been cool nights. Yeah, the only problem is we haven't had any rain in several months, so everything is dry. And I don't have a fish finder, so I've got to go by what I see, which isn't a whole lot. So I may have to start fishing just a little bit deeper than I wanted to. But anyway, it's the next day. That's a good one right there, guys. I just let it sink to the bottom. Ah, he got off. Woo, that was about a 4-pounder. I knew he was going to get off because I had a freaking, too much stuff in the way. Awesome. He was in about 7 feet of water. Oh, good one. Oh, it's somebody's freaking line. Dadgummit. That was cool. All right, so I don't know if you guys saw that, but there's the bending branches paddles. Most of them come with this little bitty hook on it right here, and I had my crankbait tied on or hooked on somebody's fishing line in these rocks, and I just dropped it down and hooked the other fishing line onto that hook right there, and just pulled and broke that line and got my crankbait back. How cool is that? They said it was for getting him, like getting him out of trees and stuff, but man, that worked wonderful. Pretty cool. I'm glad I got this paddle. I get this question all the time, what knot I use for fluorocarbon. I actually use an improved clinch knot, which a lot of people don't recommend, but if you tie it really carefully, in other words, when you get ready to cinch it down, spit on it really good, get it good and wet, and then push it down with your thumb as you're pulling it tight on the main line, and then pull the tag line tight. And don't pull it fast, just do it nice and slow and easy, and then just cut off your tag. And that's how I do it. And I rarely ever have a problem with it that way, but you have to do it real careful. You have to cinch it down real careful, or you do burn the fluorocarbon and weaken the line. I tried a Palomar knot once when I was fishing with a buddy of mine with some deep diving crankbaits, and no matter how carefully I tied it, you pull that Palomar tight, and it was within minutes of casting it, those big deep diving crankbaits just went flying. Knot broke, and it was because I was using a Palomar knot and not an improved clinch knot. So just a little word of advice. All right, now while I'm sitting here trying to catch a fish, I know I'm going to get the question is, what do I like about a kayak? Man, first of all, it's stealthy. I don't have to worry about what kind of noise I'm making as long as I'm not banging up against the side of the hull of the boat. I'm perfectly quiet. I'm drifting real slow and careful with the wind and not making a single noise. No fish finder going off at the moment. So I know the question is going to come up is, why do I enjoy fishing out of a kayak, or why have I changed so much to a kayak? I still fish out of my Alumacraft. I love my Alumacraft. But a kayak, most times of the year, it's one, more stealthy. I can sneak in and slip up to just about anything and not have to worry about making those super long casts like I just did, but not have to worry about making super long casts. I can make some short casts at little things that are right next to me. I mean, last week I drifted over a smallmouth on the Collins River and flipped back behind me and caught him. You know, I saw him. He was only 2-3 feet up underneath the boat. It didn't spook him at all. I just flipped behind me and caught him. So that's it's just really stealthy, and it's something that really helps you get closer to the fish. Number 2 is access. I can get into any body of water. I don't have to have boat access. I don't have to have a ramp. It's easy to load and unload. Now my Hobie and other, you know, it was difficult to load. That's a heavy boat. And plus, it wouldn't go into a lot of the places that I really wanted to get to. It wasn't good in skinny water, and it wasn't good in thick grass like down in Florida. So, you know, the Hobie has its place. It's just not conducive to the places that I've been fishing lately. These paddle kayaks still have their place. I know everybody wants to go to a pedal, and I'll probably be trying a pedal out, you know, Jackson's new pedal out eventually, but I love to paddle. I'll do a video in just a few weeks about choosing a kayak, about what you look for in the hull, and the differences in the hulls and what they make when for the differences in how they act on the water. So I'm going to try to take the guessing game out of buying a kayak for you, because I know a lot of guys, you know, are worried about having a tippy kayak, or, you know, having a kayak that's not stable. There's a good one. Oh. Whew, I knew there was one in the area. Too good of a spot. He hammered it. I mean, why am I having such a hard time catching fish today if they're hitting it as hard as they're hitting it? Man, but I made like 10 casts with 2 different baits right there. Look at that fish. Whew, that was on that bladed jig. Good deal, look at that. Good little, maybe 3 3/4 pound. Nice, good fish. Awesome. So what this fish was doing, there's a little drop right here in front of me, got rock coming up next to the corner or the outside edge of a dam. And that's kind of a key spot anytime you're fishing riprap, there's the far end of each side of the dam. And threw that bladed jig in there, brought it down a drop, knew I was falling, so I kind of let it fall, then started reeling it, and that fish hammered it. I don't think I can catch one on that square bill. I've been trying and trying and trying. I think it's just got too wide of a wobble, and it has no rattles in it. And right now the water's a little stained or a little dingy, and they seem to want things that are making noise. I picked up this little Lucky Craft crankbait, and it's got rattles in it. First cast I got bit right there. And I know it's not in the box. I just wanted to check and see whether it was the noise factor. And this bladed jig has a lot of vibration to it, so I think that's why it's getting hit more. The jig, they're not really feeding on the bottom. They're more keyed in on the shad that are up shallow. It's fall, and in the fall I really like to just concentrate on shad patterns or bait fish patterns, because that seems to be what the bass are going to feed on the most. Now up north in the late summer, like in Minnesota and stuff like that, I find that they feed more on crawfish than they do the bait fish. But don't underestimate the effectiveness of something that looks like a bait fish, a white fish, or I mean, whatever color fish you guys have. Anyway, awesome, good fish. Still learning, still getting used to it. That one was very shallow. Not a big one. But look at that fish. Come on. Stop flapping. Nice. Well, guys, I've got to get home. I've got to get ready for a Halloween party tonight at my church. So I've got to roll, but that's my MTB Slam for the month of October. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I did catch a few fish. I might try to catch a few more on my way back out of here, but I've really got to get going. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day.